Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today I'm going to do a flight with the Captain Sim's Boeing 777-300ER from Dubai to Karachi. And the reason behind making this video is to find out that still are there any issues with the Captain Sim Boeing 777-300ER, because when this plane was launched back in 2021, I think in the third or the fourth quarter, there were some issues with this plane. I have done some videos which are there on my channel. And the last video that I did was in December 2021, and since then I haven't flown this plane. So for the past 3-4 months, I was receiving some queries about this plane in the comment section, and as I was not flying it and I was away from the simulator, so that's why I didn't know the issues have been fixed or not. So this flight is kind of an exploration flight to find out if there are any issues with this plane or not. I'm trying some flights with this plane for the last 2-3 days, and so far there has been no issues. Very little bit of problems which can be overcome, but not a very huge issue. You can do a smooth flight from one airport to another, and you are going to enjoy it. And if you are planning to purchase this plane, I think this video is really going to help you. I'm not going to give any comments. Otherwise, if you ask me, I would suggest that you should buy it. But still, I'm just giving you all the information, and on the basis of this information, you can make a decision whether you want to buy it or not. I'm not asking you to buy it, okay? But it's a good plane. It's a nice plane. I'm using the Emirates livery. As you can see, this plane comes with multiple liveries, and this is the Emirates one. I'm parked at the Dubai International Airport right now. I'm not using any plugins for this video because I refrain from using plugins. Only this airport, the Dubai International Airport, has been purchased by me on the marketplace from the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and plus this plane from the marketplace of the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that's it. I also have one plugin, FSLTL, which is for the traffic, but I'm not using it for this flight. And for this flight also, I will not be also using the ATC communication. So I'll just try to keep things simple because main focus is on the flight. So let's first of all turn on the battery. And now the external power is available, so I can connect the external power. And with this, I'm not going to set the weight and of the plane and the passenger. There is one issue that I found out on the internet. Is this that, in the sim brief, if I calculate the fuel and the weight, it is not really applicable over here. I don't know. There is an issue. I think the sim brief tells us the total maximum weight of around about, I think, 330 or 334,000 kilograms, whereas over here the maximum takeoff weight is coming as 447. So this is one of an issue that I have found out, and due to which I don't set the fuel and the passengers, whatever the information is there. I just use it and I fly it. But if you just like to play around, you can do it. But anyhow, for this flight, I'm not just going to do it. One more thing I would just like to identify is this, that in this plane, if you look at the navigation display, you can see the airport. So it's kind of good when you are actually taxiing towards the gate or out of the gates to the runway. You can see the airport over here in the navigation display. Otherwise, the FMC is also just like the Boeing 747 FMC, because initially what I've heard is that this plane is actually a modification of the Boeing 747, which comes with the Microsoft Flight Simulator. As you can see, there are 2 more bars over here for the 747 engine which are not appearing over here. So it's kind of a modified version of the Boeing 747. It works on that. But right now the interior you can see is it's a 777-300ER interior, and plus the exterior also, obviously. It's a 777 exterior. So right now I'm just going to program the FMC, and I'm going to enter the flight plan. Let's see how many features work over here. The departure airport or the reference airport is OMDB. This is what I'm going to enter over here. And for the GPS position, I'm going to pick it up over here. You can see over here on the upper panel that ADIRU, kind of a tongue twister, is already active, so you don't have to activate it, and it picks up the position. Then we can go to the route option, and over here I can enter the origin airport and the destination airport, which is OPKC. Now I'm going to select the departure runway, which is going to be 30 left, and this is the SID. I can press execute and I can go to the route, and over here I can start entering the waypoint and the airways. M677 is the first airway. Just I think 4 waypoints to enter. I'm just doing everything on the screen so that you guys know which features are working and which features are not working. B505. And B524 to Alpor. Oops. My mistake. And G216 to Lakiv. This is the last waypoint. And that's it. Now for the arrival, it's going to be ILS 25 left Y, and the transition is Mulkey. And this is going to be the star. That's it. So this is it. Now we can go to the performance initialization page, and I can keep the cruising altitude at 380. And the cost index is going to be 20. Reserves, I'll just, for this flight, I'll keep it at 7 tons. Thrust limit, it's given. Takeoff. And for the flaps. Now for the flaps, I'll just want to bring your attention to one thing. If you extend the flaps, you can see this position 1 or 1 degree. Then there is 5, 15, 20, 25 and 30. And for the flaps, you cannot enter 5. You cannot enter 15. But you can enter 10. 10 is not there in the position, but you can enter 10. If I put it, you can see it's 10. So that's why for this plane, I always use flaps at 20 degrees, because then the speed is calculated accordingly, and the VR is 182. If you keep the flaps at 10 degrees, then obviously the VR increases. So the V1 is 171, 182 is the VR, and V2 is 203. That's it, and that's it. So it's easy to program the FMC of this plane, and just 2 or 3 simple steps, and the FMC is programmed. Now it's a time to program the MCP, which is the mode control panel. So I'm going to keep the speed at 200, because this speed is your V2 plus 10. So it's 203. I'll keep it at 210. Okay. Or rather, let's keep it at 213 knots. And that's it. And the heading for the runway that we're going to fly out from Dubai is 300. That's it. And the cruising altitude is 38,000 feet for this flight, as I've already entered in the FMC. Okay. Now, what we have to do is this. We have to turn on the flight directors, arm the auto throttles, and LNAV and VNAV active. And now we have to set the barometric pressure to adjust the altimeter. And in Dubai right now, it's 1006. Rather 1003. In HPA. So this is the barometric pressure. Now, everything is set. So that's why I'm just going to now start the engine. Let's, start the APU and start the procedure for the engine startup. So let's turn on the lights, and with this I can turn on the fuel pumps. Check for the APU bleed. It should be on. It's saying auto, so it should be like this. Otherwise the APU will not run. And then I will start the APU. On sign will appear over here, and that's it. Now the APU is available. So now I can disconnect the external power, and let's turn on the seatbelt sign and turn on the window heats, and I can release the parking brake and call for the pushback.
Dubai ground Emirates Echo Mike 777 requesting pushback. Emirates Echo Mike 777 pushback request accepted.
I'm actually checking for any discontinuity, and it's not there, so it's good. So now the pushback tug is here. As the runway 30 left is over here, so I will be turning the plane towards right during the pushback. Now the pushback has started. It's a bit tricky, the pushback. I'm not also using any plugin for the pushback, but you have to just wait for the right time to turn the plane towards the right so that you're on the taxi line, properly aligned with the taxi way. And that's it. I think everything is looking good so far. I think now I can ask it to turn right.
Dubai ground Emirates Echo Mike 777 requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the right. Emirates Echo Mike 777, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
And that's it.
Dubai ground Emirates Echo Mike 777 requesting the end of pushback. Emirates Echo Mike 777 request to end pushback received.
Oops. I have turned on this option. That's why the pushback stopped early. Otherwise, we would have gone all the way back to the back. But I think I can just ignore it. I don't have enough time again to go back and do this video again, as I've been telling you before in my videos, that I have a full 9 to 5 job. And I do these videos after coming back from the office, so I have a very short window. So if there are any things, kindly excuse me for this. But because, trying to make a perfect video will take a lot of time. Okay, so now I can engage the parking brakes, and then I can start the engine. So engine 1 is now running. You can see it's a very nice plane, and doing a flight is also a very nice experience. So now I will start engine 1 as well. Let's turn on the lights, the logo, wing. I can set the flaps to 20. And that's it. The flaps are set to 20. And let's check the speed brake. It's armed. That's it. Let's wait for this engine to stabilize, then I can turn off the APU. Now I can turn off the APU. Now I can release the parking brakes and taxi towards the runway. Set the auto brake to RTU, which is for the rejected takeoff. And that's it. And now I can take this plane up in the air. Now, one thing just to notice over here, if you see, I will give a full throttle because obviously I will be taking off at the full throttle. But as we have entered in the FMC a reduced thrust setting, which is automatically picked up by the FMC, so that's why you will see the thrust will not be the full, it will just go below if I give a full thrust. You see, it will go up and then, yeah. Now it will adjust over here. See, so this is something that I've noticed. If you give a full thrust, it's automatically adjusted. There is a call out for the V1 in this plane. Positive rate of climb, gears up. You were not late. I don't use ATC, so that's why I get this error. Okay, so I can now. And you can see the thrust has now also been reduced after the takeoff. So far everything is good. I can just retract the flaps. You can see the speed is now stable at 242 knots thanks to this VNAV option, and plus there is this setting over here, and due to its auto throttle as well, that the plane does not go more than 240 knots. It stops at 240, so the thrust is automatically adjusted. You don't really have to do anything about it. So the takeoff is easy with this plane. And now full flaps up. At the Dubai International Airport, when you fly out of the Dubai International Airport, the transition altitude is at 13,000 feet. So at 13,000 feet, I will change the barometric pressure to standard. And that's it. So far, everything is looking good. Let's have a look at the plane from outside, and you can see a nice, wonderful plane. A smooth takeoff, a nice flight. You can see the airport from here. Okay, so now as the plane is crossing the 10,000 feet mark, so I can turn off the lights. That's it. So you can see that so far everything is working perfectly all right with this plane. And again, the speed is increasing. Above 10,000 feet, the plane can go more than 240 knots. So you can see the speed is also increasing. And right now, everything is working perfectly all right. There's one thing which is missing right now is the top of descent. But you can consult the operational flight plan to see when the top of descent will start, and then you can start the descent from that point. Or if you're using the ATC communication, obviously you will be then getting instructions from the ATC when to start the descent. And as I've told you before, I'm not using ATC. That's why I'm not using a step climb option. So I'm going straight away to 38,000 feet. And this is the same thing I'm going to do when I will start the descent. As per the operational flight plan, the descent starts at Lakiv. There is a waypoint. I'll just show you on FMC right now. The click regions are very, very tricky. Okay, so if I look at this option and Lakiv, you can see this is the point from where the descent will start, because over here you see flight level 380, which is 30,000 feet, and then afterwards there is a descent, and Sabin 3,000. Just ignore this Mulki 8,000, because obviously if you are at this point at 3,000, how can you again climb back to 8,000? And just before the runway at the final descent point, your altitude should be 2,000 feet. So that's it. So this is something that we had to just look at. Now I think I can also, after this turn off the seatbelt sign so that the passengers can move in the cabin. But before that, let's have a look in the cabin. If I go to this option, and if I go, yeah. So this is, I think, some economy plus, if I'm not wrong. Yes. And this is the business class. Nice window view. Actually, the plane turns back and it flies again over Dubai, then flies over Oman and over the Arabian Sea into Karachi. So this is the flight path, and this is another view. So some nice views in the cabin and from the cockpit. You can see the mountain ranges of Oman as well. So right now plane is at 23,000 feet, going for 30,000 feet. So everything is good so far. So now I will wait for Lakiv waypoint from where I will start the descent, and then I can take the video from there. But so far you have seen that there are no issues in the plane right now. You can easily program your flight. You can take this plane up in the air without any issues. And just I would like to mention one thing, that like 1.5 years back when I was doing flights with this plane, there were issues in the climb and plus stabilizing at the cruising altitude. But right now those issues are also fixed. I have done a tutorial of this plane, I think same the December 2021, but I will also try to do a new tutorial for this plane, because I've also updated my system, and obviously over the period of time I've learned more things, so I think I can make a better tutorial video. So I will be bringing that video on my channel as well. Do subscribe to my channel. Just need your support to bring more and more video for you guys. Just remember one more thing. If you go to the settings and if you go to general option, you will see over here the flight model, and it should be modern for this plane. I'm just giving you this information. If in case it's not modern, you might face issues, but I always use this option for all the flights, for all the planes. So that's why it's always on. But in case you have any issues with this plane, try turning on this option if you have switched it back to legacy. So always keep it on modern for this plane, and I think you will have no issues. So right now, Lakiv is hardly 36 nautical miles away. So now I will start to plan the descent. What I'm going to do is this. First of all, I'm going to find out to which altitude I should be descending, and this will be 3,000 feet. As you can see at Sabin, I should be at 3,000 feet after Lakiv. This is all coming as blank, and at Malki, it will again coming at 8,000. So we are going to ignore this one. So my initial descent will be to 3,000 feet. So I will enter this information over here and select 3,000. That's it. Okay, now the altitude has been set. Lakiv is 28 nautical miles away. So everything is looking good. Flying over the Arabian Sea. This is Gwadar in Pakistan, Balochistan. Nice view of Gwadar from here. And now some little more distance to cover, and then I will start the descent. In order to start the descent, we have to press this button over here. In the Boeing 747 from Salty simulations, once you set this altitude, as soon as the plane crosses the top of descent, the descent automatically starts. But in this plane, as the top of descent is not coming, so that's why you have to do it manually. Which is not a very big problem, given the beauty of this plane and getting a chance to fly this plane without any errors and without any issues. So it's a very good thing. So there are a few places where I can just compromise, and but flying it has been a pleasure. I always look forward to flying this plane in the office. So as soon as I'm back, I'm trying out different flights. So now the plane is going to cross Lakiv. I'm going to start the descent. Oops. And you can see the descent has started. One thing I would like to mention is this, that after 30,000 feet, the speed changes from IAS to Mach. So right now you could see that the speed is set at 266 knots. What if I change it? You can see it's 0.564 Mach. So if I turn back the VNav, it will go back again. But the speed is in Mach. So as soon as the plane is below 30,000 feet, then it will go back to IAS and it will be in knots. Because above 30,000 feet, the air gets thinner. So that's why the speed is measured in Mach rather than IAS. So that's why you can see as soon as the plane is descending, the speed is increasing over here. Not because of the descent, but on the speed, you can see it's getting increased. I have actually tried changing the speed over here in the VNav option, but it doesn't work. You can see the limit given is 310 knots below 10,000 feet. So if I try to enter, let's say 240, I can't enter it. Even if I use the same format, I can't enter the speed. So this is one thing which is missing in this plane. And one more thing I would like to identify is this, that no matter how many times you press execute, the green button light still remains on. It should turn off as soon as I press execute. So this is another very small thing that I've just found out. But in the navigation display, if you look at, once we are close to Mulkey, I will show you. But rather, I think you can see this is a deacceleration point. Decel, no, we cannot see it right now. But I'll just show you once we are near. So at this point, decel, the speed should reduce. If the speed doesn't reduce, then I will reduce it manually. You can see the speed on the left hand side, it's increasing as the plane is going below 38,000 feet, and as soon as it's below 30,000 feet, I think it should stabilize at 310 knots as given over there in the VNAV option. Otherwise, you can always turn off the VNAV option, and you can control the descent yourself. Simply press this button and let's set it to 2,000 feet, and that's it. Now the descent rate is 2,000 feet per minute, and then you can control the speed, control the descent and everything. Don't turn off the LNAV option, obviously the plane will stop following the flight path. So this is one thing which is functional in this plane, and you can just check all these options. Right now you can see the speed is now going to stabilize at 310 knots. 310 or 311? 310 knots. So that's it. And you can see that mark is appearing over here. As soon as the plane is below 30, it will change. So this feature is also working. Otherwise, you change it manually from here by pressing this button. But in this plane, it is disabled. You have to do it yourself. Sorry, it's disabled. It's done automatically. Not you have to do it yourself. Okay. Oh, no, it's working. This button is working. I'm sorry. The click regions I told you before are very tricky. If you just zoom in, then it works. So now it's working. Okay. So as I'm not using this auto throttle, that's why the speed is like not reducing. Otherwise, it's coming as 216. I can keep it at 310. And now you can see the speed is increasing. It will now stabilize at 310 knots. So you can also do it yourself, the descent management. So I can just turn back to VNAV, and plus we have to turn on the seatbelt signs, which are already on. Okay, so that's it. For the approach setting, you can select the flaps and the speed. If I go to index and approach, you can see you have two options at 25 degrees and 30 degrees, 161 and 157 knots. So I will be using this option with full flaps. And you can see that for the runway 25 left in Karachi, the length of the runway is given, which is 3,399 meters, 3.4 kilometers. So this information is also here. And plus, just to check one more thing, just click this option NavRad and check if the ILS frequency is given over here or not. And if I am not wrong, it's 109.7 for Karachi runway 25 left. So everything is good. Otherwise, the frequency is automatically picked by the system, but I've seen that once I'm landing in Karachi, I have to enter it manually. You can just check this thing, the NavRad option, during the descent to see if the ILS frequency appears over here or not. If it doesn't, then you have to enter it yourself. So right now you can see the plane is descending at a very high rate. It's like 2,120 25 feet per minute, and we will be at 3000 altitude before this point, which is 7. But I'm not going to touch anything. I'm not going to change anything because I want to see what happens at the deceleration point, because earlier I was doing a flight. So as soon as I was below 10,000 feet, I was controlling the speed manually because the plane speed doesn't reduce. But I think at the deceleration point, the speed should reduce. So I will wait for that point and see if the speed reduces or not. Now, interestingly, in this version of recording, the speed is reducing below 10,000 feet to 241 knots. So it's working right now. I was just checking it for this flight, and this is all good. So right now I can start extending the flaps as well. At 265 knots, I can extend it to 1 degree. And then at 245 knots, I can have flaps at position 2 or 5 degrees. So the speed thing works. No need to worry about that. But if it doesn't, then you can slow down the plane yourself. I can even apply the speed brakes. But anyhow, we have enough time. It's even going below 220. You can see it's set at 212 knots. Oops. So I can go up to 20, but right now I will just keep it over here, because as you can see, when I'm extending the flaps, the speed is getting reduced further. So, and if you don't extend the flaps, then it will stabilize at 233 knots. So we can keep it like this, or we can have flaps. Another deceleration point coming, so we'll see what happens at the deceleration point. Otherwise, our approach speed is, if you look at the menu, index and then approach, it's 157 knots. Let's cross check once more. The ILS frequency is given. I can turn on the lights. That's it. And I can arm the speed brakes, which are already armed, and set the auto brakes to max. The transition altitude for Karachi airport is 3,000 feet. So at 3,000 feet, I will change the barometric pressure. It will be 1003 QNH in Karachi right now. And the heading for the 25 left is 254. That's it. You can see these diamonds for the ILS have started to appear on the primary flight display, and the ILS information is also coming over here. 109.70, 8.1 nautical miles. It is actually, we are near the airport, that's why it's saying 8.1 nautical miles. But now the distance will start to increase. So the speed is good, under control. I'm not extending the flaps because then the speed will start to reduce a lot. So I'm just keeping flaps at position 1. I'm checking if the terrain works. I think it doesn't. Constraints are visible. You can see 8,000 and then 3,000, 230 knots over here. Speed is also coming. Constraints you can see by pressing data. And the waypoints, yes, they are visible. Yes, terrain is working. You can see the mountains ahead, so terrain radar is good. The plane is now stabilized at 3,400. I can change the barometric pressure over here for the altimeter. 1003, 1006 for Karachi. It's 1006. So we are at a safe altitude just before the waypoint, Mulki, and at this point CF25 left, 2,000 feet, and obviously I will activate the approach before these 2 points, so the plane will actually start to follow the glide slope and automatically will start to descend towards the runway. This screen is the ICAS, and usually alerts come in this screen. It's engine indicating and crew alerting system. It works well for the Boeing 747, but in this plane, the 777-300ER by Captain Sim, there are no warnings coming. So this is one disadvantage this plane has. Let's just do some checks. Seatbelt signs are on. All the lights are on. Everything is looking good. Speed brakes armed. Auto brake set to max. And I think we are ready to land. Heading is set. Altimeter has been set as well. Terrain radar is working well. With this I can activate approach, and as soon as this diamond is in the middle, the plane will start to follow the glide slope. 3 degrees of glide slope for runway 25 left. So full flaps. And just a disclaimer before we land, my landings are really bad. If you are a regular viewer of my channel, you will find out that my landings are not really good. I was trying one flight before recording the video, and the landing was like 4 out of 10. So hopefully this time I'll do 6 or 7 out of 10. Better landing. But let's see how things turn out to be in this video. So over here, this is the final descent point. You can see at the final descent point, the speed will be 172 knots as the speed is not reducing. So what I can do is this. I can adjust the speed. To 155. Okay, so the speed is now under control, and I can activate the approach view on the navigation display. Let's adjust the height. I think this is better. Yes. Now the plane is following the glide slope. Runway is 8.2 nautical miles away. This is the final descent point. I will lower the gears now at this point. Just to mention one thing, in the minimums you cannot set the radio, but for the baro, yes, you can make the adjustment, as you can change it, you can see. But right now I'm not setting the minimums. Otherwise I'm used to setting the minimums on radio because it's easy. It's like for the category 3 ILS, it's like 100 feet, so you can just enter the radio 100. Otherwise, then for the baro you have to get the elevation of the runway and then do it. Now you can see that the terrain radar is now not showing as we are near the runway. So I can disengage the autopilot and I can proceed with the landing. Hopefully today is a good landing. This was, I think, a bumpy landing. But anyhow, I have managed to land the plane. So that's it. You can see everything is working good in this plane and without any issues. So you can also try flights on this plane and give me your feedback in the comment section. And if you've got any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. So it has been a great flight, except for the landing. Kind of a bumpy one. You don't want to be in this plane during the landing. And if you want to add anything to this video, you can add it. And I will be doing more flights in the coming few days with this plane in order to see if there are any issues. But right now, as you have seen in this video, that currently all the basic flight instruments are working and everything is working perfectly all right. Initially, I thought the speed has an issue, but now in this video, it's also clear to me that the speed can be controlled and it's controlled by the VNAV. So there is no issue in that. So this is the Jinnah International Airport terminal. So with this, I would just like to end my video, and I would like to do more videos for this plane. So do subscribe to my channel so that you can keep on getting the updates, and don't forget to press the bell icon. With this, I will just end my video. Thank you very much for staying with me. Have a nice day. Hope to see you soon.